Update. My girlfriend's 23 female friend kissed me, 24 male, but she's threatening to tell girlfriend something else if I say anything. Original post. I really don't know what to do. She kissed me in the hallway at my friend's house when we were all drinking last night. My girlfriend was barely getting off from work, so she wasn't there yet. She freaked out when I said I was gonna tell my girlfriend, and she said she'll tell her I pushed myself on her to kiss and touch her. She looked completely serious, as in she will, or she'll say I tried worse on her, then said who will my girlfriend believe since it was just us in the hallway. Everyone else was downstairs. I feel so bad that I didn't tell my girlfriend anything when she got there, and still thinking about it now the next morning. I want to be honest about what her best friend did, but I'm scared she's going to put the blame on me. Now for the top advice before reading the update. The longer you wait, the worse it will be. Tell her. That's true. God, this freaking sucks. Be completely honest and get ahead of it. You can't control her reaction, but it's better than being held hostage by her friend and your own mind. Tell your girlfriend, then as soon as you're done, call the best friend on your phone with girlfriend present and say, I'm going to tell girlfriend you kissed me. I can't lie to her, blah blah. And she will probably call herself out then and there. You gotta tell her now. Tell her exactly what happened, and then tell her you said you would share and she threatened you. After all we've been through, I hope she believes me. They've been friends for a year, so my fear is she'll believe anything she tells her. Do you think you might be able to get her friend to admit what happened via text? Or record her making this threat next time you see her? I would tell your girlfriend immediately either way because you want to get ahead of it, in case her friend panics and decides to say something. But it might be worth seeing if you can get her to own up if you think she might take the bait. Obviously loop your girlfriend into this as well. I didn't think about that. Not sure about the text though. She might not want to send anything that I could show to my girlfriend, but recording might work. And now for the update. Sorry to leave you guys hanging. I know many were asking for an update on my post. The last few days have been pretty crazy. For one thing, my girlfriend knows. She was shocked, but I told her the whole thing. Not only about what she did, but the fact that she threatened to lie about me doing worse. And that's why I was afraid to tell her. Also because I was worried how my girlfriend would react. She was shocked and pretty confused, like she wanted to cry. And then I learned something messed up. This isn't the first time her best friend did this. The last time it was her ex-boyfriend from high school. Only her friend told her that it was the guy who kissed her. My girl believed her friend though, and that's why it's an ex now. She started crying. We hugged and talked some more. Then things got chaotic. Her now ex-friend decided to stick with her threat and told my girlfriend a completely different version where I forced myself on her. Supposedly covered her mouth and tried to freaking violate her, but she managed to push me off and go with everyone else. Only my girlfriend did believe her lie, and they had a huge fight. Obviously no longer friends, and my girlfriend was pretty devastated. I hated seeing her so hurt, and wished that this didn't have to happen. Then to make everything worse, she stuck to her word and lied to all of our friends about what happened. Made herself the freaking victim and told them my girlfriend is supporting an offender over her own friend. Like seriously, it was freaking crazy. My girlfriend couldn't believe it. That hurt her even more. Our friends had texted her non-stop telling her what an awful person she is, that I'm a freaking monster, and they're encouraging her to file a police report, which she was planning to do because that's what she told her cousins. That lasted a couple days. It was so stupid though, because if something like that even happened, why would you not tell someone right away? At least some of our friends who were at a party didn't seem to buy her story. Not all of them, but at least some. We got sick of this garbage. So my girlfriend went over to her house and she convinced her to admit it was a lie. I don't know how she did that, but my girlfriend said it took a lot of talking. Plus, she managed to catch some holes in her lies. Then an hour later, she got a text from her saying she's sorry about spreading those rumors and asking if they could talk because she doesn't want their friendship to end this way. Yeah, after kissing me without consent, lying about a crime and making my girlfriend seem like the bad guy too, she doesn't want their friendship to end like that? So freaking crazy. It all drained us, to be honest. My girlfriend wasn't in a good place and I felt bad. Tried to be there for her, hugging her whenever she cried and saying how much I love her. We didn't want to do anything for Thanksgiving because of everything, so we came here to stay at a motel by the beach the last 2 days so we could forget about stuff. She's still sad about losing someone she thought she could trust, but I'm sad for my girl. Hoping things get better from here now that she's not around. Edit. To people saying to talk to a lawyer, I realize I probably should. just so some things are on the record and this can't come back to bite me in the future. I don't know when we'll be back home, but once we get back, I'll try talking to a lawyer. Thanks. Do people already know that it was a lie? What did they say? Does the friend keep asking to be forgiven? People who believed her friend and now know the truth are still her friends? Most of them apologized to both of us and deleted some of the stuff they said to us on Instagram and Twitter. Some haven't, but I think it's because they're embarrassed. We blocked her everywhere because she wouldn't stop messaging us. If you have the financials for it, you could sue her for slander/libel. I could maybe, but this has been hard enough in my girlfriend, and I just think it's better to move on from it faster. I'd be sending some stern messages to people to take their posts down calling you an offender, or you'll see your lawyer about a libel case. Otherwise, it's up there. Your name equals offender. You can't have that out there for any future person/employer to go looking at. Then when they've done that, both of you should block these flakes from your life. They're highly dangerous to you. All of them did. It just meant there are some who haven't reached out to apologize. But the fact that they deleted all their comments suggests they know the truth now but just won't say anything to us. Keep that text message. If the friend goes nuclear, you have evidence against her. I'm so sorry you had to deal with all of this. That friend is a monster. She forced herself on you. I hope the future is bright for the two of you moving forward. We screenshot everything she sent us as proof before we blocked her. Now for the last story. My female 28 husband's male 30 older brother male 35 confessed that he's in love with me. What the hell do I do? Original post. This happened last week. I'm still shocked and have no idea what to do with this information. A little backstory. My husband and I have been friends since I was in middle school, so we've known each other and each other's families forever. We started dating after college and got married 2 years ago. Let's call my husband Greg and his older brother Michael. I've obviously known Michael just as long as I've known Greg, but in that vague peripheral way, you know, a friend's older brother. He was already well into college by the time I met and started hanging out with Greg, so until we got married I hadn't had a lot of contact with him, except for holidays when everyone was home. Michael and his wife, let's call her Stephanie, have been separated for over a year and are in the process of getting divorced. He primarily cares for their 6-year-old son. Stephanie moved out of state. Michael's a neurophysician and has been insanely busy since COVID started, especially since their son's daycare is still closed. Since I'm able to work remotely, I've stepped in to help out with babysitting. As a result, I've had more interaction with Michael, but still, it's not much. Just him getting home exhausted from work, saying thanks, me saying some version of no worries, happy to spend time with my nephew, and then leave. Nothing romantic, no ulterior motives, nothing weird. Then last week, as I was gathering up my laptop and stuff getting ready to go home, Michael said, "Hey, I really need to talk to you about something that's been bugging me." I honestly thought it was going to be that I had done something wrong in caring for his son, letting him do/eat something he wasn't supposed to or something like that. But then he essentially told me that he's been in love with me for years, and that his feelings toward me were a contributing factor in him leaving Stephanie, and seeing me with his son and coming home to me every night has been wonderful. He then said, "I understand you're with Greg, but I had to tell you how I feel." I sort of blacked out from shock, mumbled something about needing to get home, and left. I can't stress enough how little one-on-one contact Michael and I have had. Like, I don't think I've ever even hugged him. If you added up all the words we've ever spoken to each other, it might comprise a 30-minute conversation. He was almost like a father/teacher figure to me. I certainly don't feel the same way about him, and I'm blown away that not only is he apparently in love with me, how, but I was a contributing factor in his divorce? Which means Stephanie knows how he feels. Because I know some problematic people will ask, no, I have never led him on, or in anything even remotely revealing in front of him, texted him about anything other than childcare logistics, or spent more than 10 minutes alone with him. I'm honestly more confused than anything, because from my perspective, he knows nothing about me. Like, we barely talk. How the hell can you think he's in love with me? I've avoided him entirely since it happened, saying I had a bunch of meetings and couldn't babysit last week, which I feel really guilty about because I love spending time with my nephew. I haven't told anyone else, especially my husband. Please help. This is so far above my pay grade, and probably above Reddit's as well, but I have no idea what to do. I don't want to cause a weird rift between brothers, or not be able to see my nephew anymore. Any advice is welcome. Thanks. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Tell your husband what's going on, and explain that's why you've been dodging his brother. Brother-in-law may think he's in love, but most likely is using what he thinks he knows about you as an ideal to hold up for his failed marriage. This, as you've pointed out, brother-in-law barely knows you. He's created an idea of you in his mind and fallen in love with it. This sometimes happens when people are unhappy in their lives and close themselves off from being involved in the people around them. He was likely unhappy with his wife, and during that time continued to imagine a life with you, building you up into someone you have never been. Be sure to mention this to your husband. I think that your brother-in-law needs clear boundaries, but not a kick in the teeth. He likely needs therapy. Step 1. Show husband this post. The information is going to cross husband's path eventually, and it's really important that you're the one to tell him. You don't want him finding out. Plus, finding out you know. Plus, you elected not to tell him. Real step 2. Avoid contact and start treating your mental and emotional health. Blacking out from stress is a sign of trauma, but just like any wound, can heal. Green grass, blue skies. Tell your husband. The brother needs to be called out on his stupidity. Sounds like has he had tough run. Might have got a bit too intense and found comfort in any female close proximity. It happens. Maybe Michael isn't in love with you. I'm not saying you're not a catch, but maybe he's in love with the idea of you. Do you know why his marriage ended? But perhaps he saw you and Greg together and was thinking about how you don't fight or how you look happy together, etc., etc., and saw those things missing in his marriage. It could be just more fake crush than an actual I've loved you since day one. But you need to tell your hubby ASAP. You don't want him to find out from your soon-to-be ex-sister-in-law calling him saying, "It's your wife's fault my marriage is over." Now for the update. This is going to be super long, but here it goes. My husband is my best friend. Has been since I was 12 years old. Keeping this from him for 5 days was the hardest thing I've ever done. I was sick to my stomach and could barely sleep. A special FU to those commenters who insinuated that I was lying and had actually been in love with / sleeping with Michael the entire time. And I'm using this as an excuse to get out of cheating. Who hurt you? I knew even before posting on here that I needed to tell my husband. But being the conflict-averse, socially awkward / anxious person I am, I sort of hoped this would all go away if I just ignored it like nothing happened, or pretend I had gone spontaneously deaf. I didn't want it to turn into some huge deal that made every family get together impossibly awkward. But the responses I received here were overwhelmingly, "Tell your goddamn husband." Yesterday, Tuesday morning, I told my husband everything. His initial response, no joke, was laughing. What? Followed immediately by, "Oh my god, this is totally my fault." Incredulous, I asked him how this could possibly be his fault. He explained that when Michael and Stephanie were still married, whenever they would have issues in their relationship, Michael would confide in Greg, who in turn would offer his advice and support. Being a protective little brother and upset about how Michael was being treated by his wife, Greg would apparently always use me as the good example, in contrast to Stephanie's bad. She was a bit of an a-hole, to be fair, insisting that Michael deserved better, deserved to have a relationship like we did, a wife who loved him as much as I love Greg. I then pointed out the obvious, that this was neither his fault nor mine, and that Michael was definitely not in love with me, but the idea of me. First as the wife he wanted but did not have, then as the mother to his child. We agreed that the situation has been compounded by the unimaginable stress he's been under since COVID, and he probably saw me as the only stable, loving presence in his and his son's life. Because my husband is the kindest, most empathetic, most amazing man on earth, and probably a better brother than Michael deserves, to be honest, he wasn't even angry. He was sad. He knew as well as I did that Michael was not actually in love with me. We agreed we would talk to Michael together, suggest therapy, and continue supporting him and caring for our godson. We also agreed that no matter what happened, we would not let that little boy be the collateral damage in this awkward, unnecessary mess, especially when his parents have divorced. His own mother has all but abandoned him, and a global pandemic has prevented him from seeing his kindergarten friends as often. He needs and deserves a stable, loving, normal environment in which to be a kid. Greg and I decided that we would watch our nephew together yesterday, at our house. Greg texted Michael that we would be working from home, and to drop the boy off on his way to the hospital. When Michael got off work and came to pick up his son, I was upstairs, leaving them to talk. After they had talked for about an hour and a half, Greg called me downstairs. Both of them had been crying. Michael apologized to me and to Greg, profusely. Total mea culpa. He insisted his intention in confessing his feelings was meant more as a compliment to what an amazing wife I am to Greg, and how happy you make my son. And that was what motivated him to finally leave Stephanie 2 years ago. Not wanting to be with me and take me away from Greg, but realizing that I, or more realistically someone like me, was what he wanted/deserved. He said he realized it was selfish of him to unload his feelings on me like that. And he knew I wouldn't reciprocate them, but that he felt he would go insane if he didn't just freaking say something with everything else on his plate right now. He said he had been feeling this way for a couple of years and planned to just work through it alone and take it to his grave, but that it just sort of came out like word vomit, and he never in a zillion years would have acted on it. Michael also made a point to underscore the fact that these romantic feelings toward me are quite new, developing about 5 years ago, and were in no way predatory, since he's known me since I was 12 and he was 20. Michael agreed to seek therapy. Greg and I even offered to join him at the sessions if he thought it would be helpful. Greg and I will also still be helping him with a son. He works insane hours, and is new to the whole single dad thing. Any babysitting will be done at our house, not Michael's from now on. For those pointing out that Michael can afford alternate childcare for his son, that's not the point. His son, our godson, needs a stable environment filled with family and routine, since his life has been pretty much uprooted by the divorce, his mom leaving, and the pandemic. Until his school resumes in-person classes next spring, we'll care for him as a family. Greg and Michael's sister and parents, while they know nothing of this mess, share in the responsibility as well, so it would not be totally in our hands. All in all, I don't think any of us could have hoped for a better outcome to this weird situation. Happy to have everything out in the open so we can move forward. Thanks again for all of your advice and kind words. I have the best husband, salt of the earth that one.
Update. I gave up my career to be a stay-at-home dad, and my wife doesn't respect me. Original post. She wasn't happy about me giving up my job. I worked as an occupational therapist. We did daycare for a little bit, but we had a very bad experience after dealing with 2 different daycares. We both knew one of us had to stay home. My wife made more money than me, so I stayed behind to be a stay-at-home dad. Financially, it makes sense to me. We're saving a lot of money from me staying at home to take care of our children. We're doing this until our kids are school-aged. We have a 3-year-old and 1.5-year-old. I'm not asking for advice, I just need to rant. It's really hard being a stay-at-home parent and having a partner that is so negative. My wife is resentful because I'm a stay-at-home dad, and she didn't get to be a stay-at-home mom. She said I took that from her. She said that in marriage counseling. You took that from me. Those words stay in my head. It makes me feel like I robbed her from an experience she always dreamed of having. She said she's embarrassed to tell people that I'm a stay-at-home dad and she works. So she lied to her co-workers and said I worked from home. I guess she's lying about my career too, since you can't exactly do what I do from home. Why would you be embarrassed? Because you're a man and you're a stay-at-home mom. Wow, okay, ouch. She said it's sad that I'm a man and I've changed more diapers than her. That's her job. It's sad that I've done more feedings than her. She's convinced our children prefer me more because I spend more time with them. She's upset that I robbed her from breastfeeding, but it's all that stress that also affected her breastfeeding. So with both of our children, we had to transition them to formula when they were feeding at the time, and she was so bitter about that. I asked her what would make her happy. I do everything. I make sure everything in the house is taken care of. I take care of our children. She said she wishes I made more money so she can stay at home. That won't be possible ever, unless if she decides to take a lower-paying job on purpose, but that's stupid, especially in this economy. She knows she's being unreasonable. She really does know it sounds ridiculous. She just wishes in another life she got to be a stay-at-home mom. She thinks that's every woman's purpose and dream. She hates working. I understand her at the same time. I would trade places with her if I could, but this isn't ever a possibility unless she changes career paths and purposely puts us in a financial pit, which is not an option. When our kids are school-aged, I will go back to my career as an occupational therapist. I'm not changing career paths. I hope my wife can just suck it up a while longer. That's my confession. Now for the top comments before reading the update. This kills me inside. I read so many posts here from women complaining about their deadbeat husband who doesn't help with kids and chores. Yours is complaining because you picked up all of the slack. Oh wow, I didn't think of it that way. We can't ever win, I guess. As a stay-at-home dad myself, I appreciate this post. I do a lot and it's not appreciated, just like I'm assuming a stay-at-home mom isn't appreciated. So much of what I do is completely invisible and assumed as easy. It's harder than any job I've had, but so rewarding. Like being a stay-at-home mom, I'm assuming. Take a look at your last sentence. That's why mom wants to do it. She knows how valuable it is. It's not about not appreciating you. She's straight up jealous. If he made more money and she was the stay-at-home parent, I bet she would be jealous that he gets to leave the house and get away from the kids for 10 hours a day. There's just no pleasing some people, nor is there any accounting for their taste. Best of luck to OP and his family. I think you're awesome. She needs more therapy and to do some reflection on why she really disrespects you. I wanted to do it isn't an adequate reason, especially if being a stay-at-home dad embarrasses her to the point of lying to others. Insecure nonsense. I can't believe adults still act that way. I started to feel insecure about myself when she felt she had to lie about what I do all day, as if being a stay-at-home dad wasn't good enough. Yeah, that part really struck me. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. She has a man that is secure and wants to do the best for his family. Not many men do what you do. You're a gem in my opinion. I do really hope she can adjust her mindset, because I don't think she's looking at it from a good angle. Transitioning to a new way of life is hard, and maybe she just needs some extra time and therapy. Now for the update. I had to sit down with my wife. She expressed to me there's no fixing our marriage unless if I make more. She said she thought she could do it, but she's sick of wearing the pants every day. She's been speaking with an attorney behind my back. She's gloating because she won't have to pay my broke-ass alimony because we weren't married that long, and it's uncommon for a woman to have to pay alimony. She said the only thing that's going to suck is only seeing our kids 50% of the time, but she said she can't look at me anymore. She's not proud to be with me, and she's embarrassed to be seen with a stay-at-home mom. She really resents me. She also let me know that she will eventually get remarried to a real man that knows how to support his family. She's made me very suicidal in such a short time, but I know I need to stay strong for my kids. They are so small. They don't deserve any of this. Edit to add, so many people on my first post and this post keep asking me if this arrangement was ever discussed. First and foremost, not everything is planned to the book. It feels silly that I even have to explain this, but obviously things happen and plans change. You can't plan your entire life in a book. On my first post, I already explained daycare was the original plan and it didn't work out with that daycare. And then we tried a different one and we had very bad experiences with the daycare system. Becoming a stay-at-home dad was a logical decision we both know we had to do, because we need my wife's income. We can't survive on my income alone with 4 people in a household. Good luck to her when she realizes that now she will now still be working full-time and now will have to be responsible for the 50% of childcare she wasn't involved in. OP, stay strong. She's in for a rude awakening. For your kids, you will be able to withstand this, and you'll come out better in the end and find someone who respects you because you deserve it. Also, I'm calling BS that she doesn't have to pay alimony. You've sacrificed a career to stay home and take care of the kids. Get a lawyer of your own. Don't let her walk all over you. If she's already this confident, it makes me think there's somebody else. She's probably got someone telling her that they will work to support her, but it's not gonna be what she thinks it is. Not in all cases. Sometimes divorce means less stuff to take care of. She's going 50-50, meaning equal responsibilities. One of my co-workers has a stay-at-home husband, but she does almost all the cleaning and childcare. She cooks her own meals for her 16-hour shifts, plus meal preps for her kids and husband. She does the chores, etc. He watches the kids at home, aka the kids fend for themselves while he plays video games in room. He threatens suicide if she tries to get him to do anything or to stop drinking. My coworker found that divorce gave her more free time because she had one less person to clean up after her. I am truly so sorry. Seek therapy, a lawyer, and a job. Regardless of what she says, child support is to ensure children have equitable resources between homes. So regardless of other things, that will definitely be something she has to pay. Also, engage a lawyer about alimony. There is no need to believe her. Seek your own answers. Reach out to your support network and community. Job last. You want no job during the divorce proceedings, but want to show massive effort. He was an occupational therapist. It probably varies by region, but showing massive effort while not landing a job would be kind of hard where I live, as the job is in high demand. Fight. The reason women normally don't pay alimony is because the positions are normally reversed, the same with custody. The person who makes more pays more. Alimony is often only awarded if the length of the marriage is X number of years. Varies by state. It sounds like she's divorcing before the cutoff. Child support is inputted into a calculator. It also factors in health insurance costs, daycare costs, etc. Yes, she'd likely owe child support, but if she's also providing the insurance and has 50-50 custody, it won't be as much as you might think. Yeah, exactly. We haven't been married that long, and it's not going to be hard for me to find work. I will be able to get my old job as an OT back at the same place I worked at before I became a stay-at-home dad. I left with them at a good standing, so I'll be fine work-wise. Courts aren't gonna see me as someone that needs alimony or child support, since we're also splitting 50-50 custody. Best of luck to you. Hire an attorney to represent your interests. Keep your head up. It gets worse before it gets better, but it does get better. Last story. I screwed over my cheating husband. Throwaway account for some privacy. My main account has too much about my life, and I don't want random people to know my main account and just get too invested on my life, lol. My ex-husband has been cheating on me with everyone. Literally everyone. It started with our neighbor. Yeah, awkward as heck. He cheated on me with his coworker. He cheated on me with women from social media. Women from bars and clubs. I only knew from checking his phone. He is a good liar. If I didn't check his phone, I wouldn't have known any of this. I did confront him. He did apologize, but he said he's a man and he's wired to look at other women, and it's in his nature to cheat. He wants me to be his wife because he loves me, but he needs more than one woman sexually. I always knew that his mindset was BS, but I needed my ex-husband, so I said, okay, just don't throw it in my face. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know about it, and I don't want your girlfriends coming up to me. I don't want you to mess with anyone that I know, like friends and family. I know staying and planning an escape out is not what people on Reddit recommend. I've been an active member of Reddit for 7 years. I never posted about my marriage ever until now, because I know everyone here would just tell me to pack a suitcase and leave, but that's easier said than done. I'm not trying to be homeless or in a situation that would hurt me more. I'm thinking of shelter and being secure financially. I have kids. I had small children. I wasn't going to risk seeing them only half of the time. I don't have enough money of my own to make it myself, and child support isn't enough, especially back then when my ex-husband didn't make that much money. I would just have been screwed over if we had divorced right then and there, especially during that time we weren't even married that long and we were stuck in an apartment lease, so we didn't even have any property. And trust me, I did talk to an attorney, and I would have to share custody with husband, which I couldn't do, and I would be screwed financially. I've never been a forgiving person. I'm a resentful woman. I will screw you over worse than you did me. It might be slower, but it will sting worse than what you did to me. I hate you, and I hope you do see this post. You're always on this sub. That's how I knew about it. He would always read meet people's confessions on here, and now you have one written about you. What a terrible man you are. I stayed with my ex-husband for 12 years. I left him when I was ready. During the marriage, my ex-husband paid for my schooling to be an esthetician. I went to college for a useless degree, and it didn't help me at all in life, so I used my ex-husband to pay for esthetician training. I'm a medical esthetician now, and I am financially stable without my ex-husband. During my marriage, I did work. I wasn't a stay-at-home mom, but I was never advancing in my job. During the marriage, he also paid off my medical debt and student loan debt. We also eventually had a house. We split it and sold it in the divorce. I didn't even have my own car when we first got married. I do now, and he paid off my car too. I'm so glad I waited to leave him. I also will eventually receive Social Security and a portion of his 401k. I was able to receive half of the marital funds, which is mostly his income. He does have to pay alimony due to our income disparity and length of marriage. It's not long-term alimony though. My children are older now. My eldest moved out, and I just have one more child about to graduate high school. I just turned 40 this year. It's been a year since my divorce was finalized. My friends ask me if they think I wasted my life, and I can confidently say no. They probably think I wasted my youth being married and having kids, but I will never regret my kids. And even if I had divorced him early on, I would still have to struggle with being a single mom, which would have been harder. Instead, I got up in my feet and focused on my career. I had things to do. I was more motivated after he cheated on me. I still lived my life even though I was married to an idiot. I had my casual sex here and there too. He never knew about it. It would have crushed him and he would have filed for divorce if he found out I cheated on him. But he was not smart and never checked my phone, and I took precautions. Anyways, I got more from waiting to divorce him when I was ready than what I would have gotten if I just left with no plan. I'm in a better position, mentally and financially. He also paid for my therapy. I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own. I started dating again after my divorce. I found love again. He knows I just got out of a marriage and it's getting serious between us, but I expressed I don't want to get married again and have a possibility of going through this entire thing again. This was a battle. Losing 100% access to your own children is scary, and I know they are adults now. But then going through this again now that I'm established, I can't lose what I recently gained. I hope my boyfriend can get over the fact that I don't have any interest of getting remarried again, but I'm happy with a long-term relationship with no cohabitation. If you actually read this far, thanks for listening, and I hope everyone here has a great day. I hate to admit it, but I've always admired people who can plan ahead like you did. Was it hard to wait? It was hard in some ways, but I always knew it was temporary. My ex-husband eventually getting a better paying job helped a lot. In some ways, money bought my happiness. I would stay on top of my goals. I made appointments with attorneys now and then to talk about my goals and how closer we are getting, and it'll make me feel better. I kept myself busy. It also helps that my ex-husband travels for work, so I had a lot of peaceful days out of the month. The only time I won't understand the long game is when abuse is involved. If you're getting beat up and your kids are too, you need to act fast. Being unalived is not going to help your kids. Any other time, being strategic about your financial security and playing the long game is choosing to be smart. I agree. Good for you. I'm glad you're happy now. How did your ex take it when you filed for divorce? How's he doing now? For some reason, he thought it was out of nowhere, like he genuinely felt blindsided. He thought I wanted a divorce because he got rid of my senior dogs. My husband couldn't stand them anymore. My 2 senior dogs had urinary inconvenience and peed in the house too much, and that's his biggest ick. He rehomed my dogs to an older couple. It broke my heart, but I know the older couple is more compassionate and patient, and they lived a happier last couple years of their lives with them instead of being with my husband who would yell at them for going in the house. Rehoming my dogs was a very recent thing he did, which is why he thought that's why I wanted a divorce. Like months before I hit him with the divorce. Anyways, that's not why I left him, even though I did hate him more for being so hard on our seniors. Anyways, he was like, "Really? That was so long ago." Like, ugh, yeah, you cheated on me more than I could keep track of. He asked why now. It doesn't make any sense. And I did tell him pretty much why I waited. He called me a bitter gold digger lol. When it comes to children, is he friendly or cold towards? He was a great father. Kids love him, but he's a terrible partner.